Hey, good morning, y'all. I haven't posted one of these for a while. I've been on vacation, but I just got back, so I'm hoping to pick right up where we left off. This is Ezekiel. We're going to start with chapter 9, and this is written by Pastor Lancelot Knight back in January 27th of 2000, and he was a pastor of the former King's Chapel. Okay, without further ado, let's get started. Do you have eyes to see and ears to hear? There's an important reason for asking and considering the question. You see, eyes to see are not really eyes at all. They are the ability to see beyond the flesh and the physical and understand, even discern, the things that are spiritual, the things that you cannot see with the eyes of clay. Often, it helps to close your eyes, close your flesh eyes, which often hinder your vision when open because of the distractions they bring into your mind. Your Father wants to know if you can now see the idolatrous, abominable religious practices that go on in the house of Yahweh today, that appear unto the masses as being Christian because they are labeled such. Have you ever heard that Easter is a Christian holiday? You see, you must have consumed enough of His Word to be able to know the difference between religion and reality, between churchianity and Christianity, between the traditions of men and the oracles of Yahweh, between Yeshua and instead of Yeshua. The Greek word anti as in antichristos means instead of. So 4 times in the last chapter, following an idolatrous scene, the question was asked to the watchman, do you see? Here are the questions to you if you are a watchman. Ezekiel 8, verse 6, Son of man, seest thou what they do? Verse 12, Son of man, hast thou seen what the ancients of the house of Israel do? Verse 15, Then he said unto me, Hast thou seen this, O Son of man? And verse 17, Then he said unto me, Hast thou seen this, O Son of man? It is extremely important that we do see, because those who have come in the name of Christ as His ministers in these last days have already fulfilled the scriptures in Matthew 24 and Mark 13 and have deceived the masses through their traditions of men. That's right. Though take heed that no man deceive you was the number 1 warning from Yeshua Christ concerning these last days. The majority of Christendom is asleep in ignorance and grossly deceived. And guess what? They spiritually do all the things in chapter 8. Do you see them doing these things? It is so sad because they don't think our Father sees them as doing anything wrong. After all, they use His name in their worship services and that of Yeshua Christ, though in reality Yahweh sees them as whores. Ezekiel 8, verse 12, For they say, Yahweh seeth us not. Yahweh hath forsaken the earth. One thing is for sure, our Father does see it, and it makes Him furious. Ezekiel 8:18, Therefore I will also deal in fury, mine eyes shall not spare, neither will I have pity. And though they cry in mine ears with a loud voice, yet will I not hear them. And so at the time of the end, when the 6th trumpet blows, spiritual death will occur to all those who do not have the seal of Yahweh in their foreheads, which is to say, they have not studied and understood their Father's word, which is to say, have not eaten and digested the scroll, which is to say, have not put enough oil, His word, in their lamps, etc., etc., etc. It is said so many times, and in so many different ways in His Word that we are without excuse. Students of Revelations chapters 7 and 9 will fully understand the following chapter in Ezekiel. Those who are new to studying His Word with us will have this foundation, will have eaten and tasted this meal, though it may take a little time to digest when they study Revelation. Let's do it. Ezekiel 9, verse 1. He cried also in mine ears with a loud voice, saying, Cause them that have charge over the city to draw near, even every man with his destroying weapon in his hand. He is the one who has the whole voice like thunder, Revelation 14:2. In fact, the Living Bible has it, quote, Then he thundered, Call those whom I have given the city. Tell them to bring their weapons with them, unquote. I hope their weapons were registered and had a child-proof safety latches and proper warning labels on them. These weapons are destroying weapons and slaughter weapons, i.e. weapons that dash in pieces. Verse 2, And behold, 6 men came from the way of the higher gate, which lieth toward the north, and every man a slaughter weapon in his hand. And one man among them was clothed with linen, with a writer's inkhorn by his side, and they went in and stood beside the brazen altar. These 6 men are supernatural, i.e., they are angels, as we shall see. Do not think that to be unusual that they are called men, for angels are often called men in the Bible. Even the name Gabriel means man of Yahweh. Notice also that the one among them, which means the one in the midst of them, therefore the 7th angel, 7 being the number of spiritual perfection, is dressed in linen, symbolic of purity, and has an inkhorn used for marking, while the other 6 have destroying weapons. We will see that, in a way, salvation is applied to the one with the inkhorn. They have all come from the higher gate, or the most high gate, which lies toward the north, where Yahweh is, and they stand at attention beside the brazen altar, which is the altar of burnt offerings, where sacrifices were slain, not the altar of incense, which was of gold. They reverently await the command of Yahweh, and here he comes. Verse 3, And the glory of Yahweh of Israel was gone up from the cherub, whereupon he was, to the threshold of the house. And he called to the man clothed with linen, which had the writer's inkhorn by his side. The glory of Yahweh rose up from the mercy seat where the cherub was, and went to the house of Yahweh, to the temple, and he called the man clothed with linen to give him his orders. Verse 4, And Yahweh said unto him, Go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. There is a twofold emphasis of the city Jerusalem, which is the scene of divine judgments. Also notice that the mark is to be placed on the men and women who sigh and cry for the abominations, which means that they are the men and women who saw the abominations in chapter 8. See? So what is this mark? Would you believe it is the 22nd letter of the Hebrew alphabet? Well, don't believe it until you've checked it out for yourself. Here's the word mark from Strong's Concordance. Tav, Hebrew 8420. From Hebrew 8427. A mark, tava. By implication, a signature, desire, mark. In ancient Hebrew, the tav was originally written in the form of a cross, like our T. That's right, those who see the abominations of the The watchmen of Yahweh have a tav, a cross, placed upon their foreheads, not literally, of course, to symbolize that Christ is in there in the minds and hearts, and so they are sealed with and by the word of Yahweh. We also know from the 7th chapter of Revelation that out of the midst of Jerusalem, symbolic of home base for the house of Israel, there will be 144,000, 12,000 from each tribe, who will be sealed with the word of Yahweh just before the 6th trump sounds and the spiritual slaughter begins. That's Revelation 1 through 3. Revelation 7, verses 1 through 3. Okay, verse 5, Ezekiel, verse 9, continue. And to the others he said in mine hearing, Go ye after him through the city and smite. Let not your eyes spare, neither have ye pity. If you don't have a tav in your forehead, you are in big trouble. Church won't help. Sunrise services won't help. Helping out at the annual church chicken barbecue won't help. Reading catechisms won't help. Casting out devils in his name won't help. If you remain biblically illiterate, you won't be saved by the tav. Verse 6. Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children and women, but come not near any man upon whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary. Then they began at the ancient men which were before the house. Sounds pretty gruesome, doesn't it? Remember, this is prophecy for the last days, and the killing is spiritual, not physical. And it doesn't matter who you are, if you don't have the cross, you are a dead man. But if you do have the seal of Yahweh, then no harm can come to you. The same thing is written in Revelation 9 concerning those who have the seal of Yahweh, his word, in their minds. Revelation 9, verse 4, And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of Yahweh in their foreheads. Did you catch back in Ezekiel 9:6 where Yahweh said the slaughter was to begin? Ezekiel 9, verse 6. And begin at my sanctuary. Then they began at the ancient men which were before the house. They were to begin at his sanctuary. Woe to the preachers, teachers, pastors, those who wish to be called reverends, holy fathers, and sanctimonious windbags. There are already multitudes with those titles who do not have a tav, and they are going to really be slain in the spirit. First, for playing church and watching the sun come up, etc., instead of feeding their flock the word of Yahweh line by line, meal after meal. They are first in line for the whipping post. 1 Peter 4, verse 17. For the time has come that judgment must begin at the house of Yahweh, and if it first begin at us, what shall the end be of them that obey not the gospel of Yahweh? So the angels with their destroying weapons began at the house of Yahweh and did their thing. I want to stop just for a minute because Lance says that the killing is spiritual, not physical. But if the destroying angels come, I'm thinking that it's quite possible that this is a physical killing as well. I say this based on Matthew 13 about the parable of the tares. This is 13, verse 24. And another parable put he forth unto them, saying, The kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which soweth good seed in his field. But while men slept, his enemy came in, and sowed tares among the wheat, and went his way. But when the blade was sprung up, and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, didst not thou sow good seed in thy field? From whence then hath it tares? And he said unto them, An enemy hath done this. The servant said unto him, Wilt thou then that we go and gather them up? But he said, Nay, lest while you gather up the tares, ye root up also the wheat with them. Let them grow together until the harvest. And in the time of the harvest I will say to the reapers, which are angels, Gather ye first the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn. So there you have it. We are not supposed to destroy these whoremongers, but the angels will destroy them. So I just wanted to make that distinction. Okay, let's continue. Chapter 9, verse 7. And he said unto them, Defile the house, and fill the courts with the slain. Go ye forth. And they went forth, and slew the city. And it came to pass, while they were slaying them, and I was left, that I fell upon my face, and cried, and said, Ah, Yahweh Elohim, wilt thou destroy all the residue of Israel in thy pouring out of thy fury upon Jerusalem? Hey, Ezekiel was the only priest left in the sanctuary. Wow! The depth of the slaughter even caught him by surprise. Verse 9. Then said he unto me, The iniquity of the house of Israel and Judah is exceeding great, and the land is full of blood, and the city full of perverseness. For they say, Yahweh hath forsaken the earth, and Yahweh seeth not. The iniquity of the house of Israel and Judah, for they are not the same house even to this day, is not just great, it is exceeding great. The word perverseness is better translated apostasy. The land is full of blood, as an expression like chapter 37's dead men bones or dry bones, i.e. they are spiritually dead. The iniquity of the house of Israel and Judah is religious idolatry. Verse 10. As for me also, mine eyes shall not spare, neither will I have pity, but I will recompense their way upon their head. That's exactly what Yahweh said he would do in the last verse of chapter 8, verse 18. Therefore I will also deal in fury. Mine eyes shall not spare, neither will I have pity, and though they cry in mine ears with a loud voice, yet will I not hear them. It is going to happen exactly as it is written, for in the next verse we have record of the final report being filed, mission accomplished to the T. Ezekiel 9, verse 11. And behold, the man clothed with linen, which had the inkhorn by his side, reported the matter, saying, I have done as thou hast commanded me. Yeshua Christ said the very same thing when he finished his work. That's in John 17, verse 4. I have glorified thee on the earth. I have finished the work which thou gavest me to do. That's the attitude of a Christian, to do as their Father commands them. He told us to study and rightly divide his word, and to learn the parable of the fig tree, and eat the whole scroll and digest it, and to teach our people in the manner of, Thus saith Yahweh Elohim. Can you say, I have done as thou hast commanded me? Okay, that ends this chapter 9, and we'll pick it up next time, beginning with chapter 10. You have a blessed day, and Yahweh bless.